Okay. Hey there guys, it's Ben from the Pebble here, and we are back with another model ship kit. If you couldn't tell, by the beautiful silhouette and just shape of the vehicle, here, our vehicle ship, here is the title card, the King George V, which was a British-made World War II ship that was just absolutely beautiful in design and everything. So, to give you some history, I know a bit on my own. So originally, before this, you had the Queen Elizabeth class, which I don't think they have on this thing. So, but that was a pretty good ship, and it had such famous ships as the Warspite. But the British was like, we need a faster battleship that's more modern. But the problem is, when they were designing these ships, the treaty that a bunch of the world leaders signed, basically saying you couldn't have X caliber of guns. Like, I think it was 15 inches and up. So, they were planned to have 14-inch guns, which I believe are 350-something millimeters. Don't quote me on that, but what ended up happening is that, with the extra 12-inch, which would have been where that would have been, it would have made it too heavy to meet the 35,000-ton, limit. So they decided to go with this. But then, by the time they actually started building these, the treaty had gone out, and no other countries were willing to sign it. So countries like the States ended up stopping building of certain battleships and adding the 16-inch, such as the North Carolina class. But the British were like, we'll use these. So that's what they did. To make up for the fact that, they're working with a smaller type of gun. I believe they had a high explosive. I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was an armored piercing. I think it was a high explosive shell that was really heavy and a lot of charge to it, which actually helped to sink the Bismarck. This was one of the ships, along with Ark Royal, that helped sink the Bismarck. So, let's get on to the actual parts. First of all, I'm going to grab alcohol. You can see it has some nice designs to it. It has all the portholes. I'll have to drill those out. I actually got a tool to drill that out. So, yeah, there's the propellers. And you'll notice something very specific. I'll have to hold this. So you see this, ridge? That was the armor belt. They had a ridiculously thick armor belt, and it shows. You can even see it on the photo there. That's the armor belt. And to compare it, I actually have the ship. It sunk, the Bismarck, ready to go. I have it ready right beside it to show you just the scale of it. It's definitely not as long. It wasn't meant to be. I'll do that. There we go. It wasn't meant to be. Oh, there we go. But it's quite a wide ship. So, yeah, I just thought I'd do a comparison since it is the King George V that helped sink the Bismarck. Okay, I'm gonna just move that aside. Okay, so now that we've done the haul there, I'll start showing you some of the other sprues in here. Here's one of the most important ones because it's what makes a battleship a battleship. You have the turrets, which are actually they have pretty good detail given. I'm not going to get photo etched for this kit, so hold on, I'll be able. Yeah, it has some details. It's harder to tell. It's very thin, but there's some detail on there. You have the barrels on here. You have one of the anti-aircraft mounts area. The other ones, some smokestack stuff, a bunch of different parts there. And the same sprue, you have some of I believe the main tower. Don't quote me. Here's part of the mast. Right there. There's the aircraft hangar door. More tower stuff island. There's some more parts. That's that sprue. The next sprue has a few life rafts some 20 millimeter guns, some 20 millimeter Oriclins, I believe. Yeah, I would. And then has some stuff there. You get 2 of these sprues, so we'll just move that aside. Next, you have where the 5-inch guns are mounted, and even though it was in a plastic bag, one of the 5-inch turret mounts fell off the sprue, so it's a little frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. They gave me extra propellers. Actually, there are 4 propellers. So there you go. Here's the turret. There's the barrels for the guns. I probably, because they do not have holes drilled into them, I will have to do that, so that will be something I'll have to do. Here's some more life rafts, some more other parts that help make up the King George V. I'll do the other sprue before I get onto the decking and show that off. This is more structural support. I believe this is the back part, but here's some island stuff, some other stuff. Here you go. Show you some detail. Here's some more island stuff. There is the tower right there. It's the classic tower. Here's some more parts. More tower stuff. That's where all the boats go. So forth and so forth. Here we have all the decking. And I know there's going to be bots. So, you have the decking, which because I got an airbrush recently, I will spray paint it deck tan first. So I don't know if you can tell, but there is actual detail on the thing. It's kind of hard to tell, but because it's so fine. Yeah, it's not gonna work with me. But yeah, that's the sprue. I'll show you quickly the instructions. This is kind of a here's a thing you can read. You can pause the video and read it if you want to, or you can go online and find the instructions. They may be in Japanese, so you may need to translate. Here's just some more. And here we go. Now I can show off what I'm talking about when I mean the, where is it? Queen Elizabeth class. This is in 1915, but they would last through both World Wars. Bottom there. That's Queen Elizabeth. You have the famous HMS Hood, which was sunk by the Bismarck. Probably get that sometime. So here's just a quick go over of the sprue. Or sprue instructions. Here's chains. Different stuff. This will be a longer-ish video. There we go, more stuff. Just kind of shows you how much goes into making a King George V battleship. I mean, I play World Warships, and this is one of the few ships I have, and I love it. It's so good in that game, and I recommend you play World of Warships. But I also recommend you get into history and start learning about ships if you already haven't, because it's a really interesting thing. You can read about some cool battles and everything, and I mean, you can get some really cool models if you start getting into them, but never get the 350 scale first ones if you're going to start model building, because you'll destroy about the first dozen kits you go through, and I can attest that happens. I've destroyed quite a few kits in the past. So, yeah, there we go. Here's last stuff. Yeah. Thinking of doing a Canada camouflage, or it'll be red and white with a maple leaf on it, but I'm not sure quite how it'll turn out yet. It really depends on how it turns out. But until now, until next video, I have to rock and roll it out.